Hi everyone.
Oh, hi.
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 Welcome to Gray Area Foundation for the Arts for the Urban Data Challenge Hack Day. You guys excited to be here?
Yeah.
So this is Open Data Day, so happy Open Data Day. Make sure you wish that to all of your neighbors as well. And basically we're here to explore some exciting data sets that we have from San Francisco, Geneva, and Zurich as kind of a cross-country collaboration. We've spent the last few months working with the cities and standardizing all of this data so that you guys can play with it, and over the next month or so we'll be having submissions accepted to the challenge. And yeah, it's really exciting. These guys will tell you more about it, but basically the idea is to share data across cities and figure out what they can learn from each other. So if you've ridden Muni here, or if you've ridden transportation in Geneva or Zurich, which I just had the opportunity to do, which was pretty cool. You know, there's differences in the systems, there's differences in the speeds that you get around, there's expectations are different, the management of the lines is different, there's a lot of similarities in problems that people deal with, but also differences across each country and how they manage transportation. So it's interesting to see, when you get behind the scenes, how things are moving. So Gray Area has been here since 2008 when we were founded. It's a kind of place where art meets technology and design and applies those tools to a broader social purpose. And we're really excited to host you guys here today. So let me know if you have any questions, and visit GAFFTA.org to find out more. And I'll turn over to
First, say a few things about the data sets, and I'll tell you about Swissnex's.
Oh yeah, so I'm Ian, one of the co-organizers of the D3JS user group here in the Bay. Excited to see so many people out here. And if anyone wants to learn more about D3 or use it for your project, we'll be hosting a couple of workshops this morning, this afternoon. And we'll also be doing stuff with the data sets, like exploring them. So if you haven't really taken a deep look yet, or you're curious about that, we'll try to help you out with that too. So it should be fun.
And I'm Johan from SwissnexSF San Francisco. We're also one of the co-organizers of this challenge. I'm really happy to see you all here today. So I'll go more into the practical information, as they will be running the day today. So I'll be sitting over there on the red couches under the meet signs. So if you don't have a team, or if you're looking for team members, you can come to me. I'll do an Excel sheet and put names in there, and so we can match all of you together if you're looking for more people. As you have seen, we have food over there at 1:30 p.m. We're gonna get pizza as well, so feel free to feed yourself well, and also get some drinks. And apart from this, well, we're gonna go now with Chris Pangilinan to do a Q&A. He's from SFMTA, as most of you know probably. And so we're gonna do the Q&A live with Zurich over there. Get some questions from them, get some questions from you, and then, well, once we're all done with that, we can start doing the actual hackathon. So again, yeah, same thing. If you have questions, don't hesitate to come to me and ask. Thank you very much for being here. And we'll see if they're ready in Zurich. Maybe well, maybe we can take a few questions from you guys already for Chris. If you have on the data, or on whatever you want to ask him from the data from SFMTA, well, we connect with them.
Yeah, Chris, maybe you can tell us about your like just quick intro also.
Sure. Yeah, let me introduce myself really quick. My name is Chris Pangilinan, and I'm a transportation engineer and a planner at the San Francisco Municipal Transportation Agency, the SFMTA. And so we run buses, trains, as well as we do the traffic signal lights, and the striping, the painting on the roadway, and parking and taxis as well. And so we do almost all the transportation in the city of San Francisco. The data that we shared is a week of data in the beginning of October of last year, 2012, and it's what we call AVL and APC, automatic vehicle location and automatic passenger counter data. Our automatic vehicle location data is our GPS system that covers our entire fleet, 100% coverage, gives you latitude, longitude, and reports about every 90 seconds. Our automatic passenger counter data is 30% of our bus fleet, no rail, unfortunately. And that counts people going on and off the buses and gives you loads, passenger loads at stops. that data is really good in that it locates at bus stops. It's very accurate and at important points along the route. Whereas the GPS data is all over the place, which is great for it's raw data, but it also requires a little more massaging to get to what you want to do in terms of visualization and analysis.
Question about that. Is it available to the public on anything like a real-time or close to real-time basis?
It is. It's called NextBus, the one that you see at the shelters, which tell you the next bus arrival. That we have a real-time feed on our website. A lot of apps have been created off of that feed, but that can be used.
Sorry, I think you had a question.
Yeah, because my customers, I just showed up, and I know there were a couple other people that just came. Could you give me a pointer to where on the web it is, or where should I look to get started?
Do you want to show them
So it's actually UrbanDataChallenge.org redirects to this post. And then the data itself.
I think you just passed it.
I passed it.
Step 2.
So I would invite you to come down. Okay. Hello, San Francisco. I'm sorry for all the delays. You know, the Swiss are always late. So, sorry?
Okay. We just okay, yeah. So there are the Duck Artsing, which is a really cool place in Zurich. You can see there are a lot of murals on the walls. Hey, cool. So we just had Chris explain basically what he's doing at SFMTA and what the data from SFMTA is, and then we were just showing on the website where people can find the data. Because that was one of the questions. Maybe we can come back to your question, sir, and just a bit when you present this. So maybe do you guys have any question for Chris that you would like to ask?
Yes. One question is, I mean, we are, for us, it's really something groundbreaking happening here in this challenge, and it's hard to say. It's not that San Francisco is participating, but it's that 2 cities of Switzerland are participating. Because you can imagine, I mean, you know this from the States as well. There is a lot of there's not so much collaboration in between the cities. So it is really great for us to experience that San Francisco actually is bringing 2 Swiss cities together. So one question now that we have, and that we also asked the guys from the Zurich Transportation Department and from the Geneva one, is question to Chris. Why is he participating, or why is this institution participating in this challenge? What does he think? Does it bring, or maybe it doesn't really have to bring something? That's something that the guys here are wanting to know.
Yeah, so hey, I'm Chris from the San Francisco MTA, and I think you were asking, hey, I think you were asking why are we doing this? And I think the big reason why we're doing this is that we have a lot of data sitting in our agency. You've only got one small slice of it. We have lots and lots of data with our buses and trains, and we just don't really have the staff or the time, unfortunately, to really delve into this. And I think we should spend more time on it. But I think that by participating in this kind of an event, we're looking for inspiration from you guys in Switzerland, as well as here in San Francisco and anywhere else in the world, to really show us what we can do with this data, and to tell us, wow, this data is telling you a lot of stuff about your system, It's telling you why you're unreliable or why it's not on time, why you don't have enough buses running throughout the city, maybe how beautiful it really is during the day with all those buses zipping around the city. And we're just looking to really see what the power of this data is. And I think that by looking at the submissions that come out of this event here in both countries, it'll really inspire our leadership and our staff to spend more time with this data and make it part of our work.
Is it the first time that you are participating in an initiative like this? So are you already have you ever experienced this kind of openness?
With multiple cities, this is the first time. We have never done something with 2 different cities, let alone in a different country before. Our experience with the data, we've done a couple other hackathons. Hattery, San Francisco, Hattery SF did a couple hackathons last year. The California, I'm going to mess up the name, but the College for the Arts, I think it is, also had an event exactly a year ago. And so those have been really good. And so it's been very nice to see what those hackathons and those events have produced. But this is the first multi-month, multi-city event that we've done before.
Good. So I want to ask into the round here, Zurich. Does anyone have a question for Chris? Could you step forward and maybe forward? I want to see if this is helping. The mic.
I'm not used to it, sorry.
Can you understand the question? Okay. Yep.
I'm aware what the situation is in your city, how people can benefit from the transparency rule if there is one as such for public administration. And meaning that if this law, we have such a law, and this allows us to get access to this officially, and we just don't have the infrastructure ready to disclose this information decentralized, to respect privacy. We just need some meaningful, simple rules on the field. Come up with it, and then the use we make out of it is it's just the type of thing because it's going to allow us to mention. To be more aware, right?
So the question is basically, is there a transparency law in San Francisco what you're doing now is some kind of a data dump. And but what if you would open up data in real time? Are you entitled to do this in San Francisco? Or is there some law missing that is allowing you to do that?
Yeah, so there really isn't much of a legal structure around what we're doing here. It's actually really exciting because we're sort of pushing the boundary here of what is going on. This is really new territory for a lot of agencies. The federal government in the United States just had an open government law when President Obama took office in his first term. And really what we do here and everything that happens is really setting the precedent of what happens in the future. We do have a sunshine law in San Francisco, which means that any citizen can request data, and we have to hand it over within 48 hours or something like that. But I think I'd rather see us move towards a culture and an environment where we like to provide data, and I think with there's a question over here earlier about NextBus data, that's already available on our website now. And I think the more we put it out there and the more we can help provide some context around the data, the better it is. There are some fears though, and it's kind of understandable that data without context is very dangerous in that we don't want the wrong conclusions being drawn or the wrong analysis being drawn. But I'm kind of more leaning towards that it's great to have it out there and just see what happens. And whatever happens, happens, and then we'll go from there, I guess.
I think that's really some kind of a statement that we would like to hear more in Switzerland. to just do it and then see what happens.
Exactly.
Yeah, because that's really, I think that's one difference that we are experiencing, I guess. If you see what you guys are doing up there and what we are doing, we maybe not the fastest here, but when we do something, maybe it's more sustainable, I don't know. So there is also like an upside, a downside, you see. Is there someone else with a question? Yeah. Okay. Hi, my name is Marcus. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
I got a technical question. I would like to know which data source you're using for the map data. Are you using OpenStreetMap data, or which kind of data are you using for that?
For the map data? Yeah, so for our map data, which I think we just released on top of the location data, that's all done in our GIS software, ArcGIS. I don't think there's anything other than just the regular GIS data that we're using, and then we just exported the shape files, which have our bus stop locations and our routes.
Okay, but you got no information about building heights or something like that?
For
only roofs, for building heights.
Oh, building heights. Not only with our agency, but I think someone just posted recently on the Google Groups a website which has all of the city's data that's open. Not just the transportation data, but also land use, crime, anything else that's posted. So if you're in the Google Group site, check that out. When I get back today, I can promote that post, so it's a little more visible.
Yeah, very much.
Do you guys have maybe a question to us?
Does anybody have a question for people in Zurich? Not at the moment, currently.
Okay, so I think for a moment then it's great to have you here, that you're participating in this. And as I said, it's really some groundbreaking things for us that which made it happen. And we're just curious what comes out. And so thank you very much and happy hacking.
Happy hacking.
Thank you so much for answering our questions.
You're welcome. Thank you for your questions.
So one of the things that would be really nice to sort of analyze traffic patterns and things like that would be the output from ClipperCard. Now obviously that's got some personal attributes there and can identify and track people and things like that. But I wonder if the city has any way of getting anonymized ClipperCard data so that we could actually find out where people are going from, and therefore we could determine how effectively people are using the transit system.
Yeah, the ClipperCard data is a very rich source of data, I agree. We actually don't own the data. The Metropolitan Transportation Commission, which is another regional government body, they're the ones that own that data. So we've been exploring our own way to try to find out if we can get it even for our own use too. So far we haven't done it yet. We haven't figured out a way to get an agreement to have that data. But I can see if we can explore doing that over the next few weeks. But also, feel free to do it also on your own with the Metropolitan Transportation Commission, MTC.
So they would be open to a freedom of information request?
I don't know how they operate, but I think that would be under the law though, so yeah. I don't know what the privacy or how they screen that all out and what their arguments might be, but I haven't approached them yet on that.
Kind of a related question in a way. I'm starting to form an idea about trip planning, and I know there's already applications online that you can do trip planning, but I'm interested in a question of, because there's so many different transportation agencies and ways to, my question is, how easy is it to coordinate trips across agencies or across channels and stuff.
Yeah.
And gathering, I wonder if there's a way to gather data between two organizations to see what those gaps are, get data like that.
Yeah, so 511.org, that is the website where you can do Bay Area transportation planning as a customer. So if I want to go from here to San Jose, I can put in the two addresses and it'll show me 3 different transit agencies I have to go through. So that's a great resource. I don't know what their data underlying it is or how open that data is, but they have all of our Bay Area transit agencies plan data, service data, and they can plan your route for you. In terms of coordination in real time, whether or not we can sync up our services, sometimes we do with Caltrain and our express buses. We sync our bus pulsing from the Caltrain station. Same with some of the stuff at the ferry and Transbay Terminal, but it's not 100% integrated though. The idea is that if you run frequent enough, you don't have to synchronize them. But if they aren't that frequent, then you should look into ways that you can synchronize.
I recently spent 5 hours traveling from South Peninsula to Marin.
All the way up in public transportation.
Quite a bit longer than I was hoping.
Does SFMTA have historical data on auto traffic?
We do. So we have, it's not as comprehensive, kind of ironically, as our transit data. It goes back till about, well, really 1950s, but electronically till about 2003. And it's not everywhere though. It's done sporadically by counts. So if we need what we call counts at an intersection, we'll have one of our staffers go out there for a couple of days and count traffic, and that's recorded. And that might be the last time it's ever recorded until maybe 2007 or 2011. So it's kind of spotty. It is out there though, but I think the Urban Data Challenge didn't use that data because it was difficult to harmonize our data with Zurich and Geneva. But it is available though. If there's a specific road or specific areas that you need data, you can email me, put it on the Google Groups, and
Yeah,
figure out how to.
Did you guys have any stuff on like the changes to Market Street, auto traffic like 2 years ago or whatever?
Yeah, I think we have counts on that and travel time on our transit system too.
Okay.
When they did the 4-stripe turns, right? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah.
Yes.
Do you also use data for future planning, what new areas are developed in the Bay Area?
Yeah, absolutely. All new buildings or new big developments, for example, Mission Bay Hospital, the new apartment building that's going up on 11th and Market, those all, we all use forecasting models on that to see how much traffic and transit that will generate and make sure that our existing system can handle it. So all that stuff, and we also use existing counts to forecast it and forecast how much traffic will grow based on new developments. So each individual development has that part of it.
But that data is not open.
No, it's not. It's not really organized as I would like it to be either, or as any of us would like it to be. A lot of it is done in PDF environmental impact reports. The Excel spreadsheets tend to stay within the consulting firms that made the report. And usually only by request from us do we ever get those. It's not common though. That's another thing I would love to see 5 years from now is a database that's centralized where anytime a traffic count happens, it's updated and you see it. But that doesn't exist today though.
Yeah, broadly, can you tell us anything about the types of methods you would use to do the forecasting?
Sure. So we have what we call a activity-based travel model, and that is not our agency, but it's our sister agency, the Transportation Authority. They maintain that. What it does though is it takes the existing traffic data and existing land use, demographics, income, job distribution, all that, and through lots of research over the last 30, 40 years, it's somewhat predictable what people will travel and how long they will travel to, based on traffic conditions, how long it takes to get there, the cost of travel, what job they're working at. And so we build the system in San Francisco and calibrate it to the existing conditions. That we know a lot of people obviously work in the financial district and they come along BART and so on. And then we can change things, like what if the jobs in the downtown area grew by 10%? How will that impact traffic? What if the East Bay all of a sudden exploded in residential growth? How will that impact traffic on BART and the ferries? Based on the demographics that end up moving to the East Bay and the jobs that end up coming to San Francisco, or vice versa? What if we built a second tube of BART? What if Muni got 10% faster and 15% more reliable? All these things factor into the model and predict growth.
What bearing does private transportation have in your calculation? Is it relatively invisible, or you don't have access to it? There's been some recent stories about how Google has its own private transportation agency, and they run all these buses up here. And it's actually, there's some questions as to whether it's affecting property values and how it's affecting property values. So they have routes which they kind of, it's not exactly a secret, but they want, you know, they don't want to keep it low key because there actually may be potential, I guess, policy or regulatory considerations. What is there any kind of interfacing with private agencies?
Yeah, we're just starting to roll that into our modeling now. It's at the very beginning though. So right now it's kind of invisible. But like you're right though. I mean, I'm sure some of you guys here work in tech companies in the peninsula, and if you live near a shuttle stop, that rent will be higher around that shuttle stop because it's close, obviously closer way to get to work. That's not modeled right now. Those effects on traffic aren't really modeled right now, just because we just don't know where they're running in a detailed enough way that we can model it. But we are really, with City Hall and the SFMTA, we're partnering with a lot of these companies to figure out what their shuttle routes are, where they're picking up, so we can better incorporate them. And also not just them, but also Uber, Lyft, taxis, all that stuff really affects, just like the private shuttles do too.
It's only as secret as a giant fleet of buses driving down Guerrero at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Well, but they're white, they have no markings.
Oh, you can tell whose is whose, easily.
Two questions though. One is, what is your, I'm just curious, what is your technical infrastructure? How do you capture the data? And secondly, are you guys in any way capturing this Twitter feed, getting the sentiment analysis? Because I think that could be a very good pointer to where the problem is, what people are talking about.
So on your first question, I'll get to your Twitter question in a second, but the first question, how we capture the data. Right. On 30% of our buses, if you look at the front windshield, in the lower left corner, it'll say ATC on it. That bus is equipped with lasers that cut across the door, and it's a set of 2 lasers. If you walk in, you cut the first laser to the second laser. You walk out, it's 2-1. And so it can capture people going in and out of all of the doors in the buses. Right. And that gets dumped when they come back to the garage. It comes in wirelessly in the garage into our database. Right. The GPS data is both that passenger counter system and 100% of our fleet has GPS installed, and that pings every 90 seconds into a real-time feed. But for our purposes, we can download the data every night if we need to. So with the Twitter question, we aren't right now tapping into the sentiment. We have, some of our projects have our own Twitter accounts, right. And we have some followers and we can interact with people who ride our buses, but not on a global scale where we can look up 5 Fulton and see like, oh man, everyone's really upset at 20th Avenue because something's going on. Yeah, exactly. That's been brought up at every hackathon though, which I think means something, there's a trend there that we should look into.
Right. It's like crowdsourcing, right? So your troubles are basically shared by all of us who are traveling on the system, and I would contribute by, I can tweet, I can say, oh, I'm pissed off, or I'm not here, exactly. Or there's something wrong in the road, and your system could take advantage.
Yeah, and I think it'd be cool if we had an official hashtag or something, to do that. I know in DC they've got an unofficial hashtag for that. Unsuck DC Metro's got something going on there. And I think that's a good idea. It'd be cool to have that going on here. Thanks.
Are you guys able to match up the APC with the Clipper card and fare readings and figure out what bus lines routinely have the most free riders?
So yeah, are we matching our automatic passenger counter data with Clipper and
yeah, like in order to figure out, because like you guys have the transit police that come on and issue citations, but they have to, it's like an optimal audit problem where they have to decide, okay, today we're going to go on the 9, tomorrow we're going to be right at the Embarcadero station.
So we haven't done that yet actually. The way that we know our fare evasion is through manual surveys in the summer when all our interns come in. That's one of the first projects they get, to survive with our finance people on the buses. So we've done a couple updates. Summer last year and summer 2010. where we will literally swarm the buses with employees or interns and then just check how everyone got on the bus. And then write down the people that ran off the bus when we got on as people who pay. Unfortunately, we don't have the data. We just haven't tracked the data like exactly you said. I think that sounds good. I think a methodology could be developed though to do that.
Yeah.
Maybe if there's no more questions, Chris, can you hang out for another 15 minutes?
Yeah, absolutely. I can hang out here till noon or a little after if you guys want to talk individually or.
So yeah, so I think we're gonna stay here with Chris, and so if you have questions, you can come individually to ask them. Otherwise, well, have fun hacking and coding, and don't hesitate to ask if you have any questions. Thank you very
thanks
much.
guys for doing this. This is great. I'm really excited about it.
And thank you very much, Chris, for being here on a Saturday. That's really cool.
I thought it was really inspirational to see so many people interested in the data. It was really cool to see Zurich on the Skype. It's fantastic. So many people, so many time zones away can be participating, and I'm really looking forward to the results. And I guess really it's just inspiring to see everyone involved. That's what I take away. I've seen cool apps on iPad even, or on their laptops, and they're really diving into this data and making some good use of it. Already answering some policy questions and operations questions I had from a couple weeks ago at SwissnexSF, and I think people are in the right direction. And of course it's really artistic too, which is great. So it's beautiful visualizations, and they're really attacking the data, which is fantastic.